Hey there, good evening, everybody. So, the other day I made the announcement that I was not going to be doing conscious coffee today, that I was going to do conscious afternoon tea or conscious afternoon something. And here's the reality. The reality is that my day just went all crazy and was awesome and wonderful and sent me in a million and one different directions that some I planned for and some I did not. And well, now we have conscious evening. But that's one of the privileges of kind of working for yourself and doing things in flow and when it really feels right to you is that, hold on just a second. Okay, is that it allows you to just kind of go with the flow and work when you need to connect when you need to. Share intimacies when you need to. Do the things as flow allows, which means just being in flow. So as I was sitting moments ago, sitting in my living room, and I was sitting there, I was like, what am I going to talk about? Because I promised that I was going to do a conscious something today. So what am I going to talk about? And then I started thinking about what has my day been made up of? So I thought, my day has been around conversations around arousal. I had a beautiful nurturing session with a client of mine today, and I masturbated. So that seems like good topics to talk about, right? Arousal, nurturing, and masturbation. And, what the heck? Let's just talk about that. And then how does that pertain to manifestation, to creating that fuck yes life that we want? And I thought, those are good topics. Those are great topics to talk about. So, as you know, being authentic, being raw, and just like, hey, bam, here I am. This is what's going on. This is how I feel about it. This is my noticings about it. This is my realizations around it. This is what we're going to talk about real quick, okay? So, arousal, nurturing, masturbation. I see that a lot of gentlemen have popped on here. So, I'll start with what you guys probably want to know mostly about, right? Which is probably the nurturing part. No, you probably want to know about masturbation first. You probably want to know about arousal, right? What happened? Well, let me tell you. This morning, I was just like, everything was cranking along. Everything was absolutely great. And I took a shower. Yeah, I took a shower. And I shaved my legs and I was getting ready for my day. And in the shower, I decided, wow, I just had this feeling come through me. I was like, I am so fucking turned on right now. And I've got nothing to do with it. So I found myself really, really turned on in the shower. And that's a good thing, right? So I decided I have this amazing shower head. So I get ahead and I flipped the shower head to what I wanted. And then I found myself in my head. Thinking too much about masturbating, thinking too much about feeling, thinking too much about everything, which kept me completely out of my body and not feeling anything. So, little trick there to you gentlemen, that if your girl is in her head, she's not going to have an orgasm. She's not going to be able to feel, which is where I went and where I typically go in masturbation. Because for us ladies, masturbation is often about us operating in the giving and the receiving role, which is also the masculine and the feminine role. And for a woman to truly have an orgasm, we really need to surrender, which means that masturbation really sucks because we're up here thinking about it, trying to control it, trying to deal with everything that our partner would normally be dealing with. And we're really not in our body. We're really not feeling. It's hard to be in two places at once. And that's my biggest issue with masturbation, actually. I really suck at masturbating because I don't like trying to be in two places at once. I don't like trying to be my own partner. I want to surrender to my orgasm. I want to surrender to the situation. And guess what? That's really what's needed. If you really, really, really want to have a beautiful experience, if you want to experience depth and intimacy and connection, and get this, the little gotcha to it for where I'm taking this with manifestation is we have to surrender to our orgasm in order to surrender to manifestation. If we want to create good shit in our life, well, we can't always try to control it. We actually have to, as I said on the front side, get into flow, right? Get into flow, which means surrender. So much like in masturbation, much like in our sex, we have to surrender to the flow. We have to surrender to what we are being given, to that receiving. So we have to allow it to happen. And this morning, much like any other time I've ever masturbated, which is only like once, right? I only masturbated once in my lifetime. All right. Yeah, that's bullshit. But I just found myself really stuck in the masculine energy, really stuck into masculine energy. So I came out of the shower, and I'm not one for vibrators, but I was like, I just felt like on edge. I was getting female blue balls from this experience that I had provided from myself. And I was just almost like really just not feeling great about everything. Like I had all this pinned up orgasmic energy, and I had this beautiful day planned out and all this different stuff going. And what I really wanted to do was just to surrender to that beautiful orgasmic energy. So as I decided that I was going to surrender to the orgasmic energy, I got done with the shower. The shower head thing just wasn't working for me. So I decided, man, I don't normally use a vibrator, but I need to I'm on a time clock here. I've got to get to my office. I have appointments to do. I have clients to see. I have places to go, money to make, people to help. And I just need to crank one out, right? I just need to crank one out. So that's what I went into it with, was that energy. Notice the energy. And there's definitely a lesson here. I need to crank one out. And so I grabbed this vibrator, and I decided, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to have an orgasm. So I went in with this focus of this is what was going to happen. It was going to happen like this. I was going to force myself to have an orgasm because that's what I needed, because I had female blue balls going on and I really seriously just needed to have an orgasm. Damn it, that's what was going to happen. And I was getting like, oh, right? Yeah. So I worked at it for like 15 minutes and I grew tired of working at it, and I grew bored of working at it. And yeah, there was these moments, like these little peaks of like, woo, 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 woo. Yeah, was not working. Because why? I wasn't surrendering. I wasn't embodying myself. I wasn't fully connecting. I went in with the idea that this had to happen. I went in with this goal, and I was so focused on the goal that what I actually ended up doing was taking the air right out of my goal. So it was absolutely impossible for me to achieve the result that I was going for, because I was trying to force it to happen instead of surrendering to it. Okay, so instead of surrendering to it. And from that moment, then I found myself afterwards, I was just like, fuck it, I'm done with this. And I put everything away, and then I went ahead and I got ready for my day, and I got dressed. And I just felt this feeling come through me. I was like, I'm still so turned on. I'm still so turned on and wanting this connection. What can I do? And I just heard this like little voice in my head, and this feeling come into me. And what I ended up finding out was like, I was just like, I'm going to just take 15 minutes for myself. All right. And instead of masturbating, which I've already tried and I'm not successful at surrendering to today, what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to meditate. So I put on one of my favorite meditations, and I laid down on my bed, and I just laid there and I just listened to the meditation. And what happened was I was able to clear all my thoughts. I was able to just let go of my physical existence, where I could almost feel as though there was this tingly vibration. My bed went away, the room went away, everything went away. Thought just dissipated. It was beautiful. And from that came some beautiful, clear thoughts as to what I needed to do for the day, what I needed to do for the week. So as I came out of that, as soon as I got this divine inspiration, I came out of that, I made notation of that, and then I bolted out of the house and I went over to my first appointment. And my first appointment was a beautiful, beautiful appointment with a young woman. And, you know, I love my clients. I have some absolutely fucking phenomenal clients, just so consciously aware and in tune and just really like go-getters. And I love the fact that my clients are so open and vulnerable. They admit, you know, like, hey, I've been really fucking up for the last 2 weeks. I've just felt this. I've just felt that. And you know, like, I've just kind of like down on this and down on that. I'm feeling kind of, you know, sad. I've not been on top of my game. I haven't been doing my work. But what I did was I realized that in the midst of not doing this or not doing that or feeling down, I realized my expansion. I looked back over the last year and I realized this and I realized that. And we had some really beautiful, beautiful intimacy shares. And then as I moved in throughout my day and I saw a couple other people, the theme of my day moved from this turned on connective intimacy share into this beautiful nurturing. And you know, for years being a tantric practitioner, one of the most incredible things that I have learned through my tantric practice and through working with people with Tantra is the intimacy of nurturing. And you know, we look at Tantra as though it is, here in our Western world, we really do look at Tantra as though it is a sexual thing. And Tantra has nothing to do with sex in the big scheme of things. Sex is only maybe 5 to 10% at best of what Tantra is. As I always say, the Dalai Lama practices Tantra. Do we look at the Dalai Lama as though he is a sex symbol, as a sexy person? No, we don't. We look at him as a highly spiritual being, an enlightened being, right? Somebody who really gets certain wisdoms, certain things that most of us don't get. A very present soul, okay? A teacher, a master teacher. Tantra teaches that. Tantra is about weaving all of life together. It is about really truly bringing the bliss of what we might have in the bedroom, if we surrender to it, right? If we surrender to it, we can bring that into other aspects of our life. Well, one of the biggest tricks to bringing that bliss into our life is through authentic relating. And like my clients shared with me today, they're authentic relating about their good, their bad, they're just blah moments, you know, where they felt like they may have fallen down, but where they actually found that in that falling down, they found expansion, they found a deeper insight into themselves. And as I moved into that, you know, the nurturing aspect, that is where Tantra is really like, it opens you up, because Tantra nurtures us at a deep soul level. It allows us to nurture each other instead of always stating our opinions, instead of always having a condition around relationship, to just nurture, to just open up and surrender to the energy and the connection that we are having with another human being. And I think that is one of the most beautiful experiences, which I was highly blessed with today, to have lots of connection and beautiful experiences and this nurturing essence. And the lesson here towards manifestation, to create the dreams that you want, is that nurturing, we have to nurture ourselves. We have to have compassion. We have to have love. We have to have empathy for self. We have to be willing to forgive ourselves for whatever we might think that we need to be forgiven for. We have to embrace the fact that we are all worthy. We are worthy of our dreams. We are worthy of our desires. And what other relationship can you say that you might have than some of the most nurturing ones? Typically that will come from our mothers, from our fathers, but definitely from our mothers, or at least it should be from our mothers, right? Or as a motherly figure that will hold space for us, that will cradle us, that will be compassionate, that will share love and kindness and just be in this unconditional state of love towards us, which is what we really need to give to ourselves if we want to experience it from others. And if we want to manifest greatness into our life, well then, number one, we have to accept that we're human. We have to just actually step into nurturing our humanness so that we can access our true potential, because we are beautiful divine beings with so much potential. Every single one of us has such great purpose and power. And in order to access that, we have to love ourselves. We have to truly be compassionate to ourselves and open and surrender to that divine being that is who we really are, so much more than this physical skin that we are in, right? So then as I moved through my day, I ended up in a beautiful conversation with Kim Holden and with Ben Phillips, who is visiting from Oregon, both fellow coaches focused in on sex and relationship and turn on and arousal. And as we sat down for dinner and just good conversation. And I had no expectations. Another lesson here. No expectations around the event at all, around our connection. It was just dinner, meeting a new person with an old friend of mine, because Kim and I have been friends for years and everything. I love her work. But as the evening went on, the topic of a lot of our conversation, and it probably just because we're three people who are open and turned on to life and very comfortable in our own skins. So what ended up happening was a very aroused conversation, to the point that we even talked about arousal. And one of the things that kept coming up in our conversation was how we tend to, as in general, how we tend to turn down or shut off our arousal. And that the program is, it's not okay to be turned on. It's not okay to be aroused to things. If we get turned on or aroused, then that might make us be a whore, a slut, something that we should not be, right? So the more we are in truly our authentic self and this turned on state, how are we being perceived? And many of us, self included on some days, tend to give too much of a shit as to what others think. And the reality is that it doesn't really fucking matter what anybody else thinks. To live in a turned on, aroused state is where you meet your desire. It is where you truly can lean in and feel and embrace and guess what? Manifest your desire. Because if you're not turned on to your desire, it's not going to come to you. It's definitely not going to come to you. We live in an attraction-based universe, okay? This is what we have, is attraction. We have something rise up inside of us, we send it out, and then we attract it to us. We get pulled to it, it gets pulled to us, and we start to come together, okay? So as we come together, as we move closer to our desires, what happens? That is attraction. Well, much like our sex, much like our relating, attraction kind of should speak for itself here. It should be that, hey, I'm attracted to somebody, and if they are in the same frequency as me, the same vibration, then they should have similar to equal attraction back, right? If they're not, then we're not going to be attracted to each other. But if we are in that similar frequency, then we're going to be attracted to each other and we're going to come together, right? So that's how we meet. Well, sitting with two people who are conscious, aware, in other words, aware, present in the moment, turned on to life, turned on to what is going on in their life and wanting to manifest truly a divine life, that fuck yes life as I call it, living on purpose, living freedom based, having the life that they want, having the life that I want. To live in that just draws more good shit to you, right? So the more turned on you are, the more aroused you are, the more also, get this, open you are. Because you can't be turned on and aroused and be shut down. You can't be turned off and aroused and have yourself closed off. You have to be open in order to be turned on. That is part of the game of being aroused. It is an opening process. It is stepping into flow. It is stepping into who you are. As you step into who you are, and I put a post on, if you go through my wall or look through anything, you're going to see that there's a picture of the three of us together. And I was doing just a little write-up about arousal, actually. And that through our arousal, what ends up happening is that we discover something very important. We discover ourselves. And it is ourself that we truly get to meet when we fully embrace our arousal, because the acknowledgement of our arousal is the acknowledgement of our heart's desire. It is the acknowledgement of what is turning us on in life. And turn on is not always a sexual thing. Although our bodies may react in a sexual way, we might feel warmth, we might feel vibration, our muscles might quiver, we may get wet, we might produce more saliva, we may get flushed on the chest, in the cheeks, have sweaty palms, we may develop goosebumps. All of these are signs of turn on, but it's not necessarily a sexual thing. We should be consistently getting turned on to lots of different things in life. Turned on to the feeling of clothing, turned on to the sunshine, turned on to the breeze blowing through the trees, turned on to the music playing, turned on to watching a mother cradle her child, turned on to watching some dogs playing, turned on to, watching birds fly, turned on to watching waves roll, you name it. We are to live a turned on life. We are to live in full arousal. And when we live in full arousal, we are also surrendering to our flow. We are surrendering to life. And when that, we are drawing ourselves closer to something that is more of a state of bliss. And that state of bliss is a high frequency state. That state of bliss is where we access all of our dreams, our desires, and we manifest the things that we want with ease. Okay? So, masturbation is all about surrender. Maybe an inability to surrender if we cannot surrender because we're trying to operate in two fields at the same time. So there is the letting go of the hardcore focus and trying to force something to happen, and just surrendering to it, recognizing that if we can't surrender in this moment, where can we surrender? Allow yourself to change gears and surrender to what you can. Stop doing the things that you can't surrender to, because you cannot force anything to happen, okay? It is applied to attention, but it is really getting the feeling of it. When we are trying to force something, we are acting from a state of control, a state of ego. That is not a state of love, a state of gratitude, a state of flow. Okay, that's not there. Then you move into nurturing. That is having compassion for your humanness and just allowing yourself, flow, surrender. These words all mean similar things, okay? So it is allowing of our humanness, not to beat ourselves up, not to diminish our worthiness, not to sidestep anything that's, just to embrace who we are and go, yes, that is okay. Yes, I can want that. Yes, it is okay to want that. Yes, it is okay to not want that. Okay? To nurture ourselves and have compassion for the things that we want and not want in our lives. And then, of course, to be turned on to the things that we do want and just fully embrace it. Fully embrace who you are and your arousal. These three things all are based in surrender. It is truly the art of allowing in every single one of those areas. Okay? Allow yourself to open. Allow yourself to connect. Allow yourself to be in a state of intimacy with self and with the world around you. And what you're going to find out is that with that, you can really, truly just manifest anything that you want. But you have to be willing to surrender to the process. Stop trying to control everything. Hey, Coral. I see a whole bunch of people on. Thank you, Coral, for being the first one to say, hey, love you. But yeah, just to really, really step into who you are, allow yourself to get turned on to those things and just focus in, but focus in with an ease and not a control. Okay? So there you go. That is my conscious evening, I guess is what I'm doing, since I didn't get to do conscious coffee this morning. Masturbation, nurturing, arousal. 3 keys to manifesting, right? Great things to focus in on. Noticing, that's the biggest thing that I would encourage anybody to do. If you are participating in any of those events, to just notice, go into what I call a witness state and pay attention to the things that you are thinking and the things that you are feeling. If you cannot pay attention to the things that you're thinking, notice your feelings. How do you feel about the subject? Are you acting in a state of really truly wanting to be there? Or is this making you feel good or making you feel bad? I can tell you that if any of it makes you feel bad, if it feels forced, if it feels like it's just not right, if you have any hesitation around it, then get the fuck out of there. Just stop it. Just stop it, because that is not sending you in the direction that you want to go. So step away from it. Lean into the things that feel good. Not feel good from a state of ego, but truly feel good from your core. What feels good? Okay? Lean more towards that, and that will give you the guidance that you truly need to be able to create the life that you were born to live. So there you have it. Okay, guys, I am going to go and lure somebody somewhere for something that I didn't get earlier today. And enjoy enjoy my evening. Enjoy some snuggles, which I hope that you all get the opportunity to go to and do as well. If anybody has not told you yet that they love you, I'm going to tell you that I love you. Have a beautiful night, beautiful morning, wherever you are in this big world of ours. Go create that fuck yes life for yourself. You can follow me here on my page here, or you can go to www.kendallwilliams.com and follow me there. Of course, I'm constantly posting articles, videos, conscious coffees almost every single morning, unless I change it to a conscious evening or a conscious afternoon or something like that. But I will be on here tomorrow morning with a conscious coffee for whatever God tells me to talk about. Who knows? Probably won't be masturbation tomorrow morning, though. Pretty much guaranteed about that. But okay. So I will catch you tomorrow morning. As always, stop existing, start living, and I will see you tomorrow morning. Bye, guys.